Hello folks, this is Mike and this is the Dremel model MM35 Multi-Max in action. Now, like all multi-tools, this thing is very versatile. You know, sometimes it seems like in some situations nothing else will really work. Now, there could be one real deal breaker for you though if you plan on using a lot of old blades from another tool. So I'll explain that later in the video, but right now let's go ahead and unbox it, look at its features, and see how it works. And this one comes with 22 different blades and accessories. That's quite a bargain, especially considering that right now it's on sale for 30% off at the time of this filming. And I got this for $68. So I'm very happy. Now I'll put a paid link in the video description for this tool in case you want to jump on that price. So let's unbox it, and as we go along here I'm going to be listing some features and specs and etc. on the screen, just general information. The ends of the box are pasted together, so I had to just pry those apart. And I apologize for the video quality here. I'm not sure what was happening there. We ended up having to reset the camera to its default settings to get rid of this rolling shadow. You have the tool itself, which as you can see has a power cord, so there are no batteries. And a number of little plastic bags full of goodies. Now I could open every single bag here, but I think I'll do that off camera. Then I'll lay out all of the accessories for you to see. It also has a carrying bag and a manual. Now, one problem I've had with these cloth bags is it seems like the zipper always breaks after a few years' use. We'll have to see how this one holds up. So here we go. Here's all the accessories. You get a diamond grit sanding pad. You get sandpaper and assorted grits. You get 2 circular wood and drywall blades, a sanding attachment, a flexible scraper, a wood and metal blade. You get a universal wood and metal blade, 2 wood-only blades, a drywall jab hook, and finally 120 grit white sandpaper. And during the course of the video, I'll show you how to use all of these. So let's take a close-up look at the multi-tool. Now, this is rubberized, very comfortable. So here's your on and off switch. Okay. Now this is a variable speed control. Now you'll notice that the blade moves back and forth, right? Each rotation is called an oscillation. And you have this variable speed control to control the number of oscillations per minute. It ranges from 1 to 10. But at 1, you're doing 10,000 oscillations a minute. And at 10, you're doing the maximum of 21,000 oscillations. So keep that in mind. Also, there's a chart in your manual that shows you an oscillation range for each type of blade and application. So you may want to look at that. So let's look at how the chuck operates. Now this is a quick change chuck, and we have this dial right here. Now you notice our blades on there good and tight now. So I want to change blades. So I'm going to turn this counterclockwise. Okay. And if you've had a lever kind, this one's a little bit slower, but it works very well. So we push the button and see this. There's your chuck bolt. All I have to do is take this off and I can put another one on. Just make sure you engage all the little nubs here, and then we just retighten it. Just that simple. So let's take a look at how our blades and our accessories work. You have some blades that are marked metal and wood. Other blades are simply marked wood. And be sure to stick with that. Don't try to use your wood blade on metal because it will dull it quickly. Not only does the metal blade have finer teeth, but it's also made of a tempered steel, causing it to hold its edge much longer in this metal cutting application. Here's a side-by-side of the teeth on both blades, and you'll notice that the metal blades are finer. And you'll notice that the wood blade has a more aggressive tooth pattern, which allows it to cut faster in soft materials like wood and plastic. And you'll see here that the wood metal blades make short work of cutting off fasteners. Now these are just common steel nails in various sizes. And with just moderate pressure, and here again, you don't want to bear down hard on this. All you have to do is just use moderate pressure and a steady hand, and it will cut right through these type of fasteners. Now this gutter is made of aluminum, and the metal blade is really making short work of this, as you can see. And both types of blades will cut any type of soft material. Here I'm just cutting through PVC, and you can see it easily goes through this, no problem. Now these blades are not good for plunge type cuts here. Here I'm just trying to cut right in the middle of the board. And I had trouble because we have side-to-side oscillation, and it tends to bind up. And I suspect in the long run you can probably damage your tool doing this. This is the jab saw blade. Now it's designed for sheetrock work. Now when I installed the blade, I set it at an angle. Now this allows me to cut it without my knuckles dragging against the work surface. And you can see how it gets its name. I just carefully jabbed it into the corner of the cut and I pull down. Actually, the cutting surface is here, so you don't want to rock it all the way into the sheetrock. I was surprised at how easily I could follow the line with it and how quick and accurate it actually was. The operation of the circle blade is pretty straightforward. At first I found it hard to cut a straight line with it. It wanted to go in at an angle. Now this of course was operator error. I fixed that by cutting a shallow scribing cut first. That done, I made the deeper finishing cut. Then I didn't have any problem. I had good results with this blade. However, I actually preferred the way the jab blade works for most sheetrock work. Let's don't forget though that the circular blade is actually designed to cut wood also. Here I'm using this blade to cut a straight line against a guide, but it took forever. So don't expect one of these tools to take the place of a good jigsaw or your circular saw against a guide like this. Now this is the flexible scraper blade, and I'm using it to prep a door stoop for fresh paint. Now it does a really good job of removing all the loose stuff. But you can use it in other applications. Here I'm just using it to remove some dry glue on a smooth white Formica top. Works really good, but you'll notice it leaves a black residue, and that's the friction causing the paint on the bottom of the blade to come off. But it came off the Formica really easy with just household cleaner. And notice that it didn't scratch the Formica. Now if you want to do this sort of thing, you can actually get these blades without any paint finish on them at all, so you wouldn't have this residue problem. The sanding pad is handy, especially for spots where it's hard to get your big sander to operate, or for small jobs like rounding over the sharp corners here on this beverage cart I was building. In total, they gave you 12 sheets of sandpaper, and you're getting those in fine, medium, and coarse grit, so you can work these for a number of different situations. Now remember, this has side-to-side oscillation, so if you try to force your sanding pad into a place where it won't go, or bear down too hard on it like I did here on these pocket holes, it'll actually tear the pad up, and that's exactly what happened to me. Now I'm going to buy another one. One thing that multi-tools have in common is vibration. Here I'm trying to cut a point on this stick freehand, and look how it's vibrating. It'll hardly cut. Now look at the difference when I clamp it down. It just zipped right through it. So the better your support, the better the cut. Now the last accessory I want to show you is this. This is what Dremel calls a diamond paper, but it's really not paper. It's actually a really thin metal with a 60 grit diamond surface on the front and a Velcro mounting pad on the back. And it's designed to fit on your sanding attachment. It's designed for flat surfaces only, on masonry and ceramic. Now if you're wanting to clean out grout between your tiles, this is really not the tool for that. That'll just tear this up. Now if you have a cache of old blades and you're planning on using those on this tool, well, that may not be possible. So let me give you a heads up here. You'll notice that a couple of your blades have a single mounting pattern, like the jab blade here. The others have this double pattern. That's because there are two different mounting systems for multi-tools, and I'll list what fits what on the screen. You may want to hit your pause button and check this out. And I'll put a link in the video description for a set of these universal blades. The Dremel takes the top pattern with the smaller center hole. Now if you try to install the other pattern, look what happens. The chuck bolt is just too narrow to hold it.
So if you can't find the right blade, these universals are a good compromise. Also, some manufacturers include an adapter for the Dremel with their blades, like DeWalt and Craftsman, for instance. And they'll tell you on their packaging that they are compatible.
Now you can make your own adapter, so let me show you how to do that.
I'm going to use a 1/4-inch flat cut washer. I put the washer in my vise and made sure the entire hole was showing. Now I'm going to take the multi-tool and I'm going to use a metal cutting blade. And we're going to cut it like so. Make sure that you hold the blade as vertical as possible. But this should look like a little horseshoe when you're finished. So now we can loosen our chuck, push in the blue button, install our blade, and slip on the adapter. Then you tighten the chuck and that should do the trick. Next we tried it out on a real cut. Did just fine and it did not loosen.
Okay, we've discussed the blade problem. And honestly, it's not really much of a problem, is it? Because if you carry 2 or 3 adapters or use the universal blades, you're not going to have a problem with using this tool. Now, you may wonder, Mike, why did you buy that corded unit? There's all these great cordless units on the market, and that is true. And if that's what you want, go for it. But I've got a battery unit now. And if you have a job of any size, I go through lots of batteries to get it done. Sometimes I don't have enough batteries to finish the job. That's the blessing of this. I never run out of electrical power. And here at home and in the course of my handyman job away from home, I always have 120 volts of power available to me. Now the other issue is that the 3.5 amp power rating is probably just about average. And I wouldn't expect to buy one at this price with a huge amount of power. However, in the course of what I've been doing and the jobs I've been on, it's been more than enough to satisfy my needs. Now, if you're a professional and you use this tool day in and day out, yes, you might want to move up to a more powerful commercial type multi-tool. That would just make a lot of sense, and I would encourage you to do that. So folks, I think that's going to wrap it up. If you've got any questions or comments, be sure to fire those off to me, and I will get back with you. Also, don't forget to go below and like our video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell. And until next time, thanks for watching.